Now that you are familiar with navigating in MyMathLab, one of the first things you're going to have to do when you create a course is change the due dates. So in your course tools, click on the assignment manager, and what you'll see on the screen are all of the assignment names. Now if you scroll through here, you'll see that they're all blue H circles. That's for homework assignments. Once you get towards the bottom, we've got quizzes and tests down here. This is a course that I copied over from the Angel course ID, and if you're using it MyMathLab in a traditional classroom and using only the homework, then it's set up and ready to go for you. If you're teaching a hybrid course or an online course, you might want to reorder some of these assignments and incorporate the quizzes and tests into your list. You'll notice that the order number is a link that can be changed. So if you want to change the order of anything, you just click on that and it'll change the order. But for the traditional courses that are just using homework, it is ready to go for you. Something else you'll also notice is the assigned category green check marks. These assignments are all assigned to the students based on the due dates that you will establish here in a minute. So notice the quizzes and tests are not assigned to students at this time. Again, if you're teaching hybrid or online, then you will want to check those as well. The next columns are the start and the due, and then finally the actions. The start date, it says August 12th of 2013. You don't have to change that. You can change that if you want, but what you will need to change is the due date. So to do that, again, several different ways. I'm going to show you first just by using the action buttons. So I'm just going to pick a random assignment and click the drop down. You have a lot of options here. You can unassign this assignment, meaning the students will no longer see it and they won't have to do it and the green check mark will go away. You can edit the assignment, you can open it up, you can delete problems, you can add problems if you like. You can copy the assignment. Honestly, I've never really had a need for that except for when I was wanting to create a review for a test. You can delete an assignment. I tend to not delete any assignments. If I don't want to assign it to the students, then I'll just reorder it and move it to the bottom of the list so that it's still there in case I want it later, but I don't want it in my list right now. Settings for class. This is what we're going to click in to establish due dates. Settings per student. If you are opening up the homework assignments for the entire semester, then you really won't have a need to go in and change anything per student. If you're going to set up dates that won't allow students to work past a certain time, but then you want to reopen for just a single student later on down the road, then you can establish individual due dates for individual students by going to settings per student. You can preview the assignment. It'll look exactly the way the students are going to see it, and I'll show you another way that you can do that. The list questions is simply going to tell you pretty much how many questions there are. This happens to have 20 questions, and it just tells you the objective. And it gives you an estimated time on how long it should take the students. Of course, that's not going to be real accurate, but this particular problem or assignment has 20 problems, and the estimated time it should take students to complete it is 10 minutes 40 seconds. I would probably double or triple that to get a better estimate. It just depends on the student. And then print. Whenever I teach something for the first time in MyMathLab, I do this a lot. I like to print off all of the homework assignments, and I know it sounds like I'm going to be killing a bunch of trees when I do that, but then once I have it printed, then I don't ever have to print it again. I like to work through all the problems that my students are going to be expected to work through. That helps me decide what types of problems I want to talk about during class. So if this is something that you're interested in doing, then I highly recommend that you go to the print homework from this screen. You can also print from the homework student side, but that's going to give you different problems every time. So I like to do it this route. You can print your answers on a separate sheet, print answers after each question. You can even include a question ID with each question. This will just identify that what lesson it came from. So if you happen to print off a review, then you could print off, or I always check this box because then I know which lesson that problem was tied to. And then just click print, and then this will take you to It'll have to load the questions, and then it will open up your print manager, and then you can print two sides or one side, or color or not color. I mean, it's pretty much going to be black and white, so not a lot of color when you're looking at this. But once it's done loading and it opens up the print manager, which it should do any second now. Waiting. Depending on the types of problems, it takes it longer to load. If there's a lot of images, if you're in my Math Fundamentals course and doing geometry, there might be a lot of different different types of images that it takes a while to load. Anyway, your print manager would come up after this, and then you'll see a more familiar screen that you can, like I said, I would recommend printing two sides. Otherwise, you're going to have to get a pretty big binder if you want to put everything in the same binder. So I'll just close that out for now. So those are all the actions here. So let's go back to settings for class because we want to change the due date. If you want to change assignments individually, this is where you're going to go. It's available beginning August 12th of 2013, so it's already available. I just need to go in and change the due date. So I can click on the calendar, or you can type directly in the box, and then just choose the date that you would like for it to be due. So for me, you know, maybe this assignment's going to, classes start the 21st, maybe this is going to be due the following week. Now, you can set your due dates for whatever you prefer. If I teach a Tuesday class, so let's say my first class will be on the 21st, I'm going to expect my students to have it completed before they come to class. So I'm going to have it be due the night before. So if my Tuesday classes, their assignments are due Monday nights. You can set that up however you want. If your class meets at 10:45 on Tuesdays, then maybe you have it be due the following Tuesday, but you just change the time. If your class meets at 10:45, maybe it's due no later than 10 a.m. on class day. So you can play around with that and find out what you like and what works best for you. The scoring options, late submissions, allow students to work and change score after due date. If you don't want to allow that, then uncheck that. All of the assignments in this course, if you copied this course, are going to be all the same. So late submissions are going to be allowed. Require final submission. Depending on how long you want to leave assignments open for students, I traditionally leave them open the entire semester. I establish due dates along the way, but I just changed that to a final submission date of the end of the semester, and if students want to go back and rework problems, they can do that as many times as they want. But if they work on it after the due date, then they are going to get a late submission penalty, and right now it's just set from final score 10%. If you want to change some of this information, just let me know and I can show you how to do all of the assignments all at one time. But right now all of them are defaulted or set up to be late submission penalty from final score 10%. And if you ever click in here, always make sure you do save and assign. If you just do save, it will take the green check mark off and not assign it to the students. So you'll see I just changed the date for that one assignment. Now you don't have to go in and click all of these assignments and change them individually. You can actually change several assignments all at one time. So to do that, you would do change dates and assign status. This is going to allow you to change settings for multiple assignments. So once this loads, okay, so if I want to change all of the assignments in this list, and this is everything, okay, so you can see this is everything, all the assignments. I check this box and it checks all of the assignments. So now anything that I change up in this area is going to affect all of the assignments below the blue line. So the start date, I'm not going to worry about. All of these assignments, you'll see they're already assigned, so I don't need to worry about the assigned category. That's done. If I want to assign a batch of students or a batch of assignments, then I could do that, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to change the start date. It's fine. They're already going to have access to it. I just need to change the due date and the homework access date. So I'm going to do the homework access date first because this is going to be the same for all of my assignments, and this is a decision that you can make as the instructor how you want to handle this. I've tried it several different ways, and the way that I like the best is just to allow students to work on the assignments at any point throughout the semester. They just know that after the due date it's 10% off. I've done it to where they're allowed to work on assignments up to 2 weeks after that test. You can really do whatever you like. I just leave it open the entire semester because it encourages students to go back and rework, and I don't really have to worry about it after that. Um, you do have to put in a final submission date. So if you want the end of the semester, then I'm just going to put that at 11:59 p.m. Apply to selected. And now if I look below, that change has occurred to all of the assignments because I had them all checked. And then I would just click update changes or update all settings. You can click either one of those and it will save those for you. So you want to make sure that you change your homework access date, but you're also going to want to establish due dates along the way. You just don't want to let your students work whenever they want, throughout the entire semester. So maybe the first day of class, we talk about 1-1, 1-2, and 1-3. And so I want those to be due the following class period. So let's say I meet on Tuesdays. I want them to be due the following Tuesday. Class meets at 10:45, so I'm going to say 10 a.m. Apply to selected. Now you'll see that only got applied to the ones that I had checked. So now if I update changes, and I would do that for all of my assignments. I would just go in and change all of my due dates all at one time. I've already got my schedule created for the class, and so I would just go in and change the batches of assignments that I want due each week. Of course, you can always change that as you go as well. So now if I go back to just the single list, you can see the due dates that have been established and the times for those particular assignments. So that's how you would change the due dates and the course settings for individual assignments. In the next video, we're going to look at how to change gradebook settings.